Welcome to All Gen Gamers, a podcast for people in video games of all generations. Starring Pete Dorr, Happy Console Gamer, Gamester81, and Jason Heine.
Hey guys, this is episode 29 of All Gen Gamers. I'm one of your co-hosts. This is John, Gamester81. I'm here with Jason Heine, the EMU Review. What's up, Jason?
Yeah, what up, guys?
Here with Pete Game Room's Door. What's up, Pete?
Not too much.
We're here with the man, the myth, the legend, the love talk doctor, Johnny Millennium from Happy Console Gamer. What's up, Johnny?
What's going down, Gamester81?
And we are here joined this week by Vintage Video Game Geek. He's a fellow YouTuber, big part of the gaming community here. Vintage, what's up, buddy?
Gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this podcast. Thank you for having me.
Oh, the honor is all of ours.
Definitely all ours, yes.
So Vintage, tell those listeners who don't necessarily know about your channel, what do you review and why the long name?
Vintage Video Game Geek is actually inspired by Angry Video Game Nerd. I probably sound like a broken record because, it seems like he was a big influence for a lot of us.
For a lot of people,
but,
sure.
Yeah, and basically, in 2006 is when I first discovered him. Of course, loved his videos, and I started watching him way in the beginning, and it's been really cool to see, all of his success and everything. But yeah, I saw that, and it was he was the only one that I had seen initially, and I didn't really know there was even a gaming community. I just saw his stuff, and I thought, you know what, I want to do something like this. I don't want to copy him by any means, but he was the inspiration, for me starting the video. So that's where I made a spin on his name. And, as far as my channel, what I really wanted to do is kind of revisit my gaming history, kind of one video at a time and go in chronological order. So, my very first video, I talk about, my memories about when my dad took me to my first arcade. I was 5 years old, and, I just remember it like it was yesterday. And I talk about that, and then I talk about the first system that I ever had, which was the ColecoVision, which I know, John, is your favorite system of all time. Yeah. So, and from there, I just kind of go through, my history, the different systems that I had. And then in between, to kind of spice things up, I'll do reviews of, I do the hardware reviews, and then I do game reviews. And also I'll do some pickup videos here and there, things like that. And the video, all the video games reviews that I'm doing, initially are, what I'm doing is I'm picking 4 games for each system that I had some real attachment to. And I try to bring an element of personal story to each of the reviews. And then once I get all the way through, I'm going to go through basically through the PS2. And then after that, I'm basically just kind of open it up, and I'll just do random, stuff from every system that I have in my collection. And all the reviews I do, it's all the real stuff. I capture the actual games and stuff, and nothing against you, Jason, but no emulation here.
Well, it's actually a big misconception is I don't use them at all either.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I figured
that's totally roots his nickname. We all call you the emulation master, Jason. That's what we've been calling years.
But seriously, no, we're not going to get into this. But seriously, 90% of the footage that I have up there right now is all from hardware.
I know you've been converted.
The only time I do emulation is on the arcade stuff.
Sure. Well, I know John took you to. I remember when he took you to. John, what's that place we went to? Bookman's.
Bookman's, yeah. Bookman's.
I remember when he took you there, and you were like a kid in a candy store, picking up all. You were going crazy picking up all the games there.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I don't really have a problem with that.
There's another Bookman's
at all. Screw you, John, talking about Bookman's. I'm trying to talk about emulation. What the fuck's the deal with that?
Well, here's the thing about that, you guys. You know, every time somebody mentions emulation, it's always like a big taboo topic. Like, oh God, no, heavens, no.
I know.
But listen, people. Guess what you're playing on Xbox Live Arcade? Guess what you're playing on Wii Virtual Console?
Yeah,
good point.
Guess what you're playing on PSN? Okay, it's not just all these people downloading these illegal or legal ROMs and playing games. You know, there are some ROMs that are actually like licensed and supported by the developers. So, with that being said,
I think I struck a nerve.
No, not at all. It's just I wanted to clear that air because
it is a very touchy subject. I think when you talk about the split, a lot of people are for emulators and a lot of people are against emulators. But I think the key is, at least for me personally, it doesn't take away from me wanting to go and collect the actual hardware itself and going out in the wild and find the games. I mean, I do play emulators, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I still go to stores and purchase the games because I like, and I know Pete is the same way, as a collector and as a gamer, you like having an actual physical thing as well and the history behind it, So I think that's important to understand.
I think the problem with me with emulation would be is I'd play so many good games that I'd be going bankrupt because I'd be wanting to buy so many of these good games. And the other thing that I want to say too is the thing that emulation, whatever. If you play emulation, I honestly don't care. It's just not for me. But the only thing I do not support are the people out there that mod their Xboxes to play new release games. Without.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Exactly,
I don't support that crap.
Yeah. Do I support emulation in the sense that it's awesome when kids get to go and play games that they can't buy anymore and they can't get on a virtual console or on Xbox Live, and they can experience these games. That's great. I want them to be able to do that. I think it's a good thing. I have no problem with it.
It's also a great way that we can preserve at least seeing these games that are no longer available, that eventually will be gone, physically gone, except for people like all of us who have the game in our collection.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's a way to go back and relive that time of seeing the game and playing it and preserving it. And I think that's pretty special.
I think it's really cool when fans actually translate games like Mother 3 that you're not really unable to play. And when people do that, that's really cool. So you're able to play a game that was never released in the States or wherever you might live. And people take the time to translate the games. That's really cool. It's kind of a neat part of emulation for sure. So
when I think about Alien versus Predator by Capcom, that game was never released out here. It was never released in Japan either, only in arcades. And so if I want to play that game, the only place I can play it is in my memories. So of course I'm going to use emulation to play it. But if a hard copy ever came out, I would have bought that as well. And I think we all support that idea as well. I think anybody who's into video games likes to own video games. They don't just pure emulation.
Totally.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think we all agree that it's basically a personal preference. I mean, I don't think any of us would have any animosity towards people that are like, I only use emulation. I think, for especially some of the retro, people in the community, there's just something about playing the actual game on the actual system. I mean, I'm not really big on the PC gaming, so I just naturally shy away from really anything having to do with my computer except for YouTube and doing a little bit of video editing.
Yeah.
Then we have the people who have created these emulators. These people that are making these. John, you've got one of those
GP2Xs, and there's the Wiz.
Yeah, and then you also have that card that you can do a ROM dump yourself.
Oh yeah, you can put SD cards into the EverDrive, which is for the Genesis.
Yeah,
and they have stuff like that for Nintendo.
There's amazing hardware that people are making, to help preserve these sort of things. That's how I look at it. I mean, because I've got all these games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm thinking, why not? Why not play them here? Just for the hell of it.
I won't say what the machine is or any of the technical ways to do it, but I own a machine, a console, and it's a modified console. And it actually, on it, I have every single, basically, console game. Oh, jeez.
You mentioned it before on the podcast, Ronnie, I think.
Have I mentioned
won't say it.
I'm not going to get into it.
It's okay.
I don't want people asking me how to do it or anything like that because I don't know how to do it. I bought it off somebody. But I basically have every NES game, every Sega Master System game, every Genesis game, every Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
TurboGrafx, Turbo CD games, Sega CD games, all in one nice spot. But the difference is I actually own so many of those games that I play. It's just handy.
It's convenient and fun.
Yeah, it's convenient and fun.
Yeah, why would you not? That'd be fun.
For sure, and I'm able to play a lot of games, as John said, that are translated that I would never ever get a chance to play any other way. So hey, I have fun. I like it. Doesn't bother me at all.
Great topic.
Very good.
So
controversial.
Thank you, Vintage.
It is yeah.
Hey, no problem. Hey, I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but I was perusing the forums, and there seems to be an element of your audience that does not like guest hosts coming on the show. So yes. So I just wanted to say to those people, I'm very sorry that I'm here. But thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
Anybody's like that? Jeez. God,
there's also a lot of haters on the whale too. Vintage. Yeah. People don't like the whale, and I think people are jealous that the whale is making music deals with Jason and living it up with Jason's house. I don't know what's going on with that.
Look, you can't hate. You can't hate when the whale's doing it big. I mean, what can you do?
No, and it's like I always say, hugs, not hate. Is a good motto.
I hate the whale myself. I agree with the audience. I completely hate the whale just because it's with Jason, and it's a cool thing to do now is to hate on the whale. So I'm always on that bandwagon.
Would this be now a good place to put the whale sound effect?
Yeah, the whale crying sound effect maybe. That would work pretty good. So okay, like you were mentioning before we got going here that some racing game comes out tonight?
Oh, God. Okay. Pete, can I take this, or do you want to?
You go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, you guys, I just did a review of Micro Machines V4 for PlayStation 2. Have you guys played this game at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, go check out my channel.
No, I saw your review.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game.
Sure.
Came out in 2005. I'm a huge Micro Machine fan. You guys already know. Everyone's starting to be like Jason and his little racers, but you know what? I love freaking Micro Machines, Hot Wheels, all these little just quirky racing games. Anyway, bottom line, I did the review. At the end of it, I was just brainstorming and go, man, it'd be so awesome, Codemasters, if you guys could throw out another Micro Machines game. Hey, newsflash, why don't you make it on Xbox Live so we all can play it? I think it'd be a good seller. What happened the next day? The next day, Pete PMs me. And Pete, what do you say to me?
There's a game coming out that I think you'd be interested in. It's called TNT Racers, and it's going to be a game that plays like Micro Machines meets RC Pro-Am with online gameplay for the Xbox 360.
Oh, and I shit my pants. I was on there like flies of shit. I was looking at that thing. It looks amazing. And I was just talking about this. I wanted this. They read my mind. You know what? I told some people on Facebook, I was like, you guys need to go buy lottery tickets. Here are the numbers. Still haven't heard back if any of them won, but, So anyway, TNT Racers, it is going to be out already by quite a few days by the time this comes live.
Right.
So, yeah, you guys, go get it. TNT Racers, Xbox Live Arcade. I think it's 800 Microsoft points, so get your Microsoft points in order. And, we're forcing you to download it. Because it's going to be fun.
How much is
cool.
How much is that in real dollars? Because
that's $350.
Whenever I hear that, I have no idea how much that is because I don't have. Yeah, I don't have any live capability. I don't have a 7th gen system. So for me, how much is that?
Every 400 points is $5, so it's $10.
Yeah,
that's confusing.
Yeah, Microsoft does that purposely, so you get confused, and so people are like, "Oh, it's only points, it's not dollars," and you lose track, and then it's paying more than you wanted for it. So that's why.
And it works. That's for damn sure.
I have an interesting question for Vintage.
Yes, sir.
You don't have a 7th gen, any of the 7th gen systems. I've got to ask. I got to word this right. Like you have no interest in it. Like wow, there's so many amazing games out there. Like, are you just like a gamer of the past? You have to explain this. I'm very curious.
Yes. Okay. Well, it's a couple things actually. First of all, I have quite a few systems already, and basically, as a bargaining tactic with my wife, in order for me, to continue my collection, I basically told her I would not buy any more new systems.
Okay.
And I said this to her several years ago when I was really starting to get serious about collecting, and it was around the time that the 7th gen came out. So but what I didn't say is that I wouldn't buy any systems that came out previous to the 7th gen. So I went ahead and bought a lot of the older systems. So that's part of it. And the other part is that, I do feel that I am like the name implies, I kind of have an old soul, as I would describe it. And a lot of the stuff, quite frankly, it kind of intimidates me. The games I feel like are getting beyond. Like, I think I'm turning into my dad, basically. It's like my dad would look at a Nintendo controller, the original, and freak out because he was used to the joystick and the one button.
Exactly. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And, I'm starting to, I kind of start to feel that way. And also, I'm not an online guy. I guess I'm like an antisocial gamer, It's like I like to play single player, or I do like to play like with somebody, but like physically there with me, because that's how it was when we were kids. There was no online. It was like, hey, you know what? I'm going over to a buddy's house for the afternoon, and we're gonna play, Super Mario Brothers for like 8 hours or something like that. Yeah. And that just got ingrained in, into my gaming habits. But it's cool. When I go to my buddies today, a lot of them do have the stuff, and I do get to play sporadically, but it hasn't risen to the level where I have my own.
You walk over to your friend's place and you're like, my God, it's in 3D.
God. I live vicariously through you guys, and watching you guys' videos, and I think maybe in like 15 years or so, when I see a PS3 in like the thrift store, maybe I'll pick one up at that point.
Yeah, it'll get there eventually, right?
When that's vintage, the PS3 is considered. Now, vintage. What is your favorite console then? System.
My favorite.
What do you play the most of?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I did a video a while ago. You actually had gamer tagged me, way back when that was the cool thing, when everybody was doing those tag videos. And my top 3 are the PS2, the Sega Genesis, and the top one is the Nintendo, the original one. But I think beyond that, I'm sort of like a secret Sega fanboy. I love all the Sega systems, basically. I have them all from, the SMS, through the Dreamcast. And I just, there's just a certain affection I have towards it. But the NES is still my number one, and I think it's not because it had the greatest graphics or anything. It was just that was the one that I had the most experience with, and it's the one that I have the most memories attached to. And then the last one I want to mention, of course, is my ColecoVision. That gets an honorable mention because it was my first system that I ever had.
What would you say your favorite video game of all time is, if you could pick one? That's hard.
Tough question, man. That's like a loaded question, man. That's not fair.
Oh, no, I can do it. I can do it.
Well, I know, yeah. You would say Phantasy Star, right? It's like they're like your systems and your games. They're kind of like your children. It's like,
I know.
What child do I love the most? But no, I have to say it's probably Bionic Commando for the original NES.
Yeah, you did a big review on that. I remember that. There's a good review, by the way. I loved it.
Yeah.
Really
I love that game, and I recently, picked up. I basically went out and I got all the actual cartridge versions that I could get. So I've got all of them. I've got the Game Boy one, and then they did a Game Boy Color called Elite Forces. And I also have the arcade port that went on the Capcom Classics on the PS2. So eventually I plan to really, go in depth with all of those all those games, because I just love the series.
Are you in the least bit tempted to get Bionic Commando rearmed by picking?
I am actually, but we were talking about Steam earlier, and it's one of those. I actually went on there and I saw that I could download it to my PC. And I think eventually I'm probably going to do that, and I'll probably have to go out and get. I don't have like a gaming controller or anything for PC, but I'll probably actually go out there, and I think you can get an Xbox 360 controller for your PC. So I think eventually I will make that leap because to me it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Now, to clarify, the Rearmed is what the remake of the NES version, is that right? On Xbox Live, or which?
Absolutely,
is that what it is?
It is.
Yeah.
And they put some additional content in there. They put like these challenge stages, where you really get to, you get to use your bionic arm in a lot of different, ways that you couldn't do because the technology wasn't there on the NES.
Yeah. But I'm like you. I'm a big fan of the original.
We should have a WrestleMan match, dude.
Jesus Christ, John!
It looks like they just released. Jeez, Johnny, come on.
We're gonna have a wrestling match.
Hopefully it's in Jello.
Check it outside, dude. I'm gonna
Can you guys please do it? Can you please do it in Jello?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
So aren't they releasing the Rearm 2 this month or whatever? February? It just came out.
Coming
right?
out I think it just got released actually.
On February 2nd, it was released. Actually, looking online here, it's really cool though. Anyway, that's just a 2-second thing I want to say. Johnny, it's your stage.
I can't even remember what I was going to say now.
Well, I just thought of one more thing. I want to get the Famicom version of the original because, as I talked about in the review, that has all like the cool. Well, not that it's cool, but it has like the original where that they're actual Nazis. They have like the Nazis are the bad guys. And, that's something I never understand about Nintendo. Why in America they felt that they had to censor that stuff. Because when we were kids, I mean, we knew about the Nazis. We knew they were bad guys. And what kid would not want to, shoot up some Nazis? I mean, I just don't understand that.
They just wanted to avoid all that. The Nintendo was meant for kids, and they wanted to censor everything. Beer in video games was turned into like orange juice or what have you. Cigars were removed. That kinds of silly stuff in video games. But I always thought it was so cool, in Bionic Commando, that they brought back Hitler. That was awesome, and you blow him up at the end. I loved it in your review. You did a whole great ending sequence to that, and I loved it.
Oh well, yeah, it's hard not to show that because there's actually some swear words, towards the end, it's just I mean, when you see a head exploding in 8-bit, it's hard not to showcase that.
Yeah, that was shocking back then, though, wasn't it? That was shocking. I remember when I finished that game, I was like, "Oh my god!" I just couldn't believe that. It was.
Oh yeah, I talk about it. It was like one of those, and you guys all have been there when you're a kid and you have invested like countless hours in a game, and a lot of times it's like in like Bionic Commando, it's like, there's no password system. So it's like you've got your so many guys and, there is a way you can get continues, but a lot of times you're like, you can only get so far and then you have to start over and then you get a little farther. And it's like, you've put all this time in and then you're finally at the end of the game and like your heart is like pounding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, what is going to happen? And, what am I going to have to face next? And you don't know what's coming because there's no
adrenaline, right?
Yeah. And it's like, wow. And then, and I'll always remember that was one of those moments where, the Hitler guy comes down and then you end up, blowing him up at the end.
And you got that one shot. Remember you got that one shot you have to do?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. If you miss the shot, you're dead.
Oh, I missed that shot. I remember. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm supposed to I'm dead.
Right, you can't get away because the machine guns on the helicopter just mow you down.
Yeah, I love that game. I love the music. So classic, eh? Bionic Commando is amazing. So classic. So, John, what about that wrestling match?
In Jello.
Let's do it.
In Jello.
I prefer pudding. Pudding, dude. Chocolate pudding.
Pudding, yeah, we'll get some dogs in there. Well, all the girls come over.
I think we should have an
cute.
all-gen gamers women wrestling match in pudding.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
What do you guys
down.
think?
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Post on the YouTube channel.
Hell yeah. That's some exclusive content.
Where are you gonna get the women though?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
damn.
we
Didn't think of that.
Shit.
Well, Van Buren, they have, like close to where we live, get some prostitutes for fairly cheap, and
John, that's disgusting. What are you saying?
Yeah, John,
How-
how do you know about that?
Yeah.
Hey, so how about the whale? I'm sure
Look,
the
he
whale's
tries to
got
change it. He's a
connections and shit, you know?
traveling man.
He's got a woman
Dude,
in
no,
every
all I
city.
do is, I'm telling you, dude, all I do is I go to dog parks, you know, I drop my one-liners, and we're golden.
Yeah, Pikachu.
That's how I roll. Yeah, Pikachu.
What's that dog doing?
Doggy style.
Yeah, that's the dog barking at John, trying to break into some girl's room in the middle of the night. He met her at the dog park that day, and he couldn't get her out of her mind. Get out of here! Get your Pikachu joke and hit the road.
Hey, can I share
Funny.
can I
That's
share a little
like
bit of news before we get on to some more
Yes.
questions?
Yeah,
No, for sure.
All right, so it's now time, ladies and gentlemen, for
I'm
We're waiting
scared.
for it.
I love building stuff up.
Yeah, you do, obviously.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have recently announced Battlefield 3, guys. Hello.
Hooray!
But we know Jason will be playing for the next freaking 100 episodes of what we've been playing. on the podcast.
That's the end of Gen Gamers right
So
there.
I'm still loving Battlefield Bad Company 2, but Battlefield 3 is coming out. They announced it. I'm here on their official Battlefield blogs, so this is confirmed. They don't have a release date, but they're saying fall of 2011. And what we know so far, here's what's included. They are bringing back jets. They are bringing back prone. And for PC only, they are doing 64-player servers. Hello. That's a lot of
Wow.
people. There's some big-ass maps.
I had to pick up my jaw off the floor.
Mag
Yeah,
says
gonna-
hello.
That was amazing.
I guess none
Hello.
of you have played Mag.
So that's pretty sweet. So that's coming out fall 2011. Of course, guys, you're going to get the full update from your good friend Jason Heine as soon as I know details. Oh, but one thing that's really excited me down there is this co-op campaign. Hello.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That is very exciting because what is something that I love to do? What is something we all love to
You
do?
like to
We
play
all love to
co-op.
play co-op, right?
Everybody likes co-op,
Who doesn't?
except Vintage. He doesn't like co-op.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
We're gonna break that. We're gonna get. You know what? I'm sick of this shit. We're getting you an Xbox.
Yeah, we're all gonna
Yep.
pitch in. We're gonna get. Yep,
Or we're gonna
it's
give you a
happen next
good-
week.
Start a little fundraising campaign.
Well, I have an Xbox,
No,
360.
360. A
360.
modern one.
but wait, that's the one that breaks all the time, isn't it?
No.
No, they
We'll get
fixed
you a new
that.
one, yeah.
They fixed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your slim.
Here-
get your
here's what
slim.
we'll do, guys. Here's what we'll do. We'll get you the Xbox,
Really?
but you have to buy the extended warranty.
Okay. How much
No,
is
like
that?
$1,000. You pay me directly.
Okay.
No, sounds good like a deal to me.
All right, so that's all the news I got on that. Battlefield 3 coming out fall 2011. It's been announced. Jets, Prone, 64 multiplayer on PC, and a single-player campaign co-op. Very exciting times.
Any other gaming news?
I have a question for Johnny, actually.
Oh,
Unless you're going to interrupt me one more time, then I'll
you
be
know
really
what?
pissed.
Let's have that wrestling match right now.
Let's fucking take it outside.
You're a
Let's go.
traveling man.
Do it. And on. I'm
All right.
outside. I'm waiting for you out here.
Yeah, it's actually like negative 15 out right now where I'm at. So let's take a rain check on that.
Snow
But,
check.
Anyway, are you excited for Dragon Quest 6?
Yeah, that comes out. Actually, comes out on Valentine's Day. What a beautiful gift for every boy and
Yeah.
girl out there. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just ordered the strategy guide off Amazon today, and I'm gonna go pick up the game. Which it's a very important game because it's the only Dragon Quest game left that has never been released in this country.
Now,
Officially.
why did they wait so long to release it in the States? And what's the history behind the game? And what it was on the Super Famicom originally, right? original game?
Yeah, absolutely. It was the last
Okay.
Dragon Quest game on the Super Famicom before they went to PS1, and it's kind of strange that Dragon Warrior 1 to 4 came out over here, and then we never got 5 or 6, and then they went straight to. They were supposed to bring out 4 on the PS1, that never came out, but they just brought out 7. And I feel really bad. A lot of people played 7. 7's not the greatest in the series. It takes you about 140 hours to finish the game. Isn't that ridiculous? But
Wow.
so it's really cool that Enix has come back now and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's give this series another go." And because I think Dragon Quest 8 over here did really well. So they released 4, 5, and 6. And it's been a while since 5 was released. So for anybody out there who's curious, definitely go pick it up. It's got really, really awesome music. I really obviously like the character designs, Akira Toriyama, but I like Dragon Quest 6. There's a lot about it that I really like.
I have
worlds in a light and dark world. Go on, Pete.
I have an interesting story that I think a lot of you have. Any of you heard of the story of the role-playing grandmother that misses the release of Dragon Quest 6?
You know something?
Hold on. Let me read it.
Okay.
This is an awesome story. Well, not awesome in a sense. It's kind of tragic, but it's still pretty awesome. All right. Square Enix is bringing Dragon Quest 6 to North America for the first time on Valentine's Day, blah, blah, blah. Sadly, an elderly fan that has been anticipating the game for 15 years won't get to see it. In 1996, Nintendo Power printed a letter from 76-year-old Edith Jeter of Palapa, Washington, where she hoped she'd live long enough to play a localized version of Dragon Quest 6, and it just missed the mark. Poster Urban Champion E from Racket Boy Forums recently came across a Nintendo Power article titled Enix Fans Speak Out, quoting multiple RPG enthusiasts that were upset about games such as Dragon Quest 6 that might not make it to the US after the temporary closing of Enix of America. Jeter was one such enthusiast who said, this is what she wrote to the magazine. She wrote, I'm now 76 years old. I may not live long enough to see Dragon Quest 6 unless someone takes action soon. So Urban Champion E decided to look Jeter up to see if she was still around to play Dragon Quest 6 through the upcoming DS release. She evidently found her obituary with Jeter having passed away on January 3rd, 2011. Just a month and a half shy of Dragon Quest VI English localization, it's undeniably the correct Jeter whose obituary said she enjoyed playing video games. Talk about a cool grandmother, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so isn't that a crazy story?
Wow.
Well,
That is crazy.
yeah, actually, it was a guy at work who mentioned this to me, and you know what my answer to him was? I said, why didn't you get the goddamn ROM 10 years ago? What the heck's wrong with this lady? She calls herself a Dragon Quest fan? Come on. Get out of here.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe
No, I'm just joking. I don't understand why she had to wait. If it's never coming out, if she even knows she's at that age and she knows about Dragon Quest, couldn't some cool young kid go, hey, grandma, there's this thing called a computer and I can set it up so you can play Dragon Quest 6, the translated ROM. The woman would have died on the spot.
10 years
Johnny,
ago.
Maybe she was against emulation, perhaps.
Is that what she said? She goes, I'm against emulation. Fuck you.
Well, perhaps she was a purist.
A purist. Well, you know what? She never got to play Dragon Quest 6, which is really sad.
That is sad.
She was 91 though. Was she really is she still playing games? I guess no one really knew, but still.
I love Akira Toriyama. Fuck you, son. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never know.
Well, you know what?
We'll see.
That brings an interesting question. Do you think there are video games in heaven?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say yes.
Yeah, where you try to pretend you play a game to try to get back to Earth. Like, God, I hate this being dead thing. Let's get back to Earth. You're trying to kill
They play
God,
Noah's Ark.
back to Earth or something?
They force you to play and completely beat on One Life Bible Adventures.
Yeah.
Bible Adventures, yeah.
One life is all you get.
Now,
Nobody has returned.
Is that heaven or hell?
Yeah, no,
Where the hell am I?
Noah's Ark 3D,
So this is a strange story with that old lady. That's so weird.
Pete, that's very sad.
What I don't understand is why she went directly to Dragon Quest. I guess she could have played at that point Dragon Quest 5. She wasn't bitching about that. But I guess she got a chance to play that because that came out before she died. So.
John, you mentioned Noah's Ark 3D. I'm very pissed at you for opening that sealed copy that you got.
I know people were pissed.
I'm never going to forgive you for that.
Dude, I got a lot of hate mail for doing that. I opened it, yeah.
And I am kidding, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But, whatever. It's all good. I didn't pay too much money for it, and I wanted to play it, and It's definitely interesting. For those who don't know what Noah's Ark 3D is all about, Super Noah's Ark 3D, it's the only unlicensed Super Nintendo out there game. So basically what you needed, there was a chip in the Super Nintendo that would block out any third-party companies making unlicensed games. So what they did, I think it was Wisdom Tree was the company that made these. They made a whole bunch of those Bible Adventure games for the NES. They had an idea. They actually took this cartridge, and in order to play, you have to plug in a Super Nintendo game in on the top of it to kind of cut through the whole chip thing. So they got to kind of around that, so to speak. But it's basically what it is. It's Wolfenstein 3D, but instead of being the guy, you're Noah, and instead of shooting Nazis, you're feeding animals. As lame as it might sound, it's crazy.
I think the Angry Video Game Nerd did a big episode on that.
That sealed copy just sold for $3,200.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, because I kind of have a copy of that. Holy shit.
Dude, my heart dropped when you told me that, Pete.
John, didn't you say it was rumored that 3D actually like released the code out to them because they were pissed about the Super Nintendo release?
Right. So so supposedly, who's the company? I'm drawing a blank. The company who made Wolfenstein.
3D Realms, right?
3D Realms. Yeah. 3D Realms. They were pissed because when it was released, Wolfenstein was released on the Super Nintendo. They really cleaned it up. They took away the Nazi, like we were talking about earlier in the episode here, how they cleaned it up. They took away the Nazi symbols. They, instead of shooting dogs, they put like big rats or something like that in it, which is stupid. So they were pissed. So they decided to give kind of the rights to Wisdom Tree to make this game as a kind of a joke and like a big fuck you to Nintendo. So.
I used to have that game on Super Nintendo, the actual Wolfenstein one, and stupidly, I got rid of it because this was before I really was serious collector. I got rid of it because it just sucked. I had played the PC version, which was just awesome, and then I was so disappointed by the SNES version, I got rid of it. And now that I want to get it back, it's like actually a rare game. It's like, and I'm pretty cheap, so it's going for like $15 or $20 on eBay, and to me that's like that's too much money. Because I get stuff at Goodwill all the time.
Just a quick correction: it was developed by ID Software.
ID
yes.
Software.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was designed by Mr. Romeo, John Romeo,
and John Carmack.
Yeah, 3D Realms did Duke Nukem, right?
Correct. Yeah, that was done by Ken Silverman and his Build engine.
I've probably already been crucified at this point.
Oh no, you're good. That's why we correct it. It's all good,
dude. I've been crucified for opening that copy, so don't worry about it. But hey, it's my copy. My copy to open up, so it's all good. Now, if it was a sealed copy of, I just was really wanted to play that game, so that's all. Cool.
We buy games to play games.
Yeah, cool.
Unless it's stadium events.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh god.
So are any of you guys getting the Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
I'm excited for it. I probably won't get it day one, but I'll pick it up soon for sure.
Pete,
I'll get it
no?
because I'll be caught in the hype, and I want to play it anyway. Even though I'm not big into competitive fighting games like that, I'll pick it up for sure.
Yeah. Nobody else? Bueller? No.
Are you getting the PS3 or the 360 version, Johnny?
What's that? In 360 version? I'll get it too then. Sure.
Yeah, I'm getting the 360 version.
I played it at PAX and I thought it was a good versus game, but it's exactly what it's going to be, a versus game. It's got a lot of cool characters in it. It's a little bit, it's a lot of fun, but it's not a Super Street Fighter 4. So, it is what it is. Versus games are a button mashing type of game to me.
Wow. I'm excited for the new Mortal Kombat.
That's the next fighting game I'm getting.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yeah. Looking forward to that a lot. When does that come out? Do we even know? Oh no. I gotta look that up more.
They have announced it, but April 19th. April 19th.
Oh, all right, cool.
Oh, day one
Definitely.
buying. I'm actually buying that day one. It looks amazing. Looks amazing.
You know what, Johnny? I actually wish you would do another one of those, like one of your first videos. You went out to Best Buy. You remember this? And you were, maybe it was Best Buy. I don't remember, but you went out there to like at a release. Like it was like at midnight.
Was it Grand Theft Auto or was it?
It might have been. It was one of your first videos.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto, I think it was.
And I thought that was so cool that you went out there and you were like interviewing people. Like,
That's
what do you think about it? You need to do that again. I think you should do that again for Mortal Kombat.
You know, that'd be fun. I don't think Mortal Kombat will have such a big opening, but I'd like to get back to another like midnight launch. But it has to be for first. Like, obviously, I would love to do it for Mortal Kombat. I like Mortal Kombat, but I wouldn't do it for like Black Ops or whatever because I'm not
Right.
a hard
3DS. The 3DS.
3DS. Okay, you know my problem is? My problem is not. I got no problem going and doing it. I love doing that stuff. It's the fucking people who own these stores. Hey, sir, can you mind not filming right now?
Seriously.
Do you have a permit?
Yeah,
You know?
right. Can you not give us free publicity, please?
I know.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be lining up at EB Games to get my 3DS, and I know what they're going to be like. But I'm going to bring the camera on the outside anyways if I'm waiting in the line. You know, my problem is, you know, and here's the thing. If with my camera, it looks big. John, you've seen it, right? It looks.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it looks intimidating to people. But what's so funny? There's more powerful cameras than mine that are very, very small now. That if you brought that around, nobody has a problem, right? But if they see the big camera, they're like, oh, well, that's going to be a broadcast camera. Where these small cameras these days are way more powerful than mine. You know, it's so funny. It's just. Perception. It
I have
seems
the
like
solution.
that. So
I have the solution for you, Johnny.
What's that? Put it in my
Nope,
pants?
Nope, I have the solution.
No.
You need to get out some paint and some stencils and friggin' stencil on a big number 8 on the side of that camera. And when they come out, just be like, fuck you, I'm from News Channel 8. I'm doing a story. Just back up off.
You back off,
Exactly.
man. I'm a Ghostbuster.
I'm from the news. This is news.
Oh, shit. I know. Yeah, for sure. I'll see what I can do. I'll see. I really wanted to do something like that for the 3DS. I thought that'd be a lot of fun. But do you know how many launch night videos on the 3DS it'll be? It'd be crazy. I kind of stopped doing things like that because there's so many other people that do that stuff. Like, I don't do unboxings of new games anymore. I don't think I did that a couple of times for a few launch things because everybody does it now. I remember, like, what game came out? Dead Space 2. I picked up my copy. I'm like, I'm not even. Yeah, I'm like, I think in my inbox, Pete, it must be in the same for you. I saw like 7 unboxings of Dead Space. I'm like, okay, yeah, it kind of kills that.
Yeah,
And
exactly why I don't do them anymore, unless it's for something that's super
special.
Not a lot of people do it really, or
yeah. So
Well, that may be the case, but none of them are you, Johnny.
yeah, I understand everybody has their individual take on it, but I don't know. I don't know what more I could bring. Like, you're opening a box, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's a box. But I might do a midnight launch thing for. I hope they do it for the 3DS. They think they might do it like an early Sunday morning release. So like at 9 a.m. they'll open up type of thing. Oh, is that my phone? Time for an intermission. Who the hell is this?
Sweet, I need another beer.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a brand new segment of the show. We all just came up with this right now, just talking about it. So right now on our All Gen Gamers podcast Facebook page, we have people posting questions, and we're going to do the Whales Quick Draw and answer them all. So basically, we're all going to pick one of these questions, and we get 1 minute to answer it. So 5 of us, 5 minutes total. The Whales Quick Draw.
And if we go over a minute, the whale will sound, and that means we must move on to the next person.
I've got to hear the whale sound off.
We got to hear the sound one more time. The whale. I forget. It's been a while since we've heard from the whale.
Basically, we have to finish our answer by the time the end of the whale sound finishes. So that's how long we have.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So who's going to go
Jason.
first? Are we going to draw
Jason, go
straws?
ahead.
Jason, you go ahead.
And then Jason, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jason.
Find a
Now.
question?
Yeah, you minute.
I gotta find a question.
You got a minute.
Shit, my minute's going. I know it's going. Okay, it's going. I already hit the timer. It's going. Let's see. Okay, Josh Anderson, he wrote here, what's your least favorite part of one of your favorite games? All right, so one of my favorite games is Donkey Kong Country. The part that I hate the most, it's like a love-hate. I love the snow levels. They're a lot of fun. They're beautiful. The music's great, but some of them are fucking so hard, I can't get through them. I waste a bunch of lives, and I wish a few of those levels in there were completely eliminated out of the game. Okay, done. Pete, go.
Final Fantasy 7 when Aerith dies. Johnny, go.
Fantasy Star. The amount of grinding you have to do in the game. It's really, really really insane. It just kind of wears you down after a while. But that's what the RPGs are. Have a lot of it is grinding. It's a small grind for me, but I still love the game. Gamester.
Donkey Kong Arcade. It's probably the spring stage where you have to time the springs right, otherwise you get fucked up pretty much. So that's my answer. Vintage to you.
Yeah. Okay. I was reading the other questions, so I missed the question.
What is your least favorite part of one of your favorite video games?
The least favorite part of one of my favorite video games.
Not being able to jump in Bionic.
Okay, well, I mean, we talked about Bionic Commando. The least favorite part is when you hit those damn trucks all the time and you have to do like the Commando, the first Commando style stage where it's like an overhead shooter. Although that is the part that you get to continue, so, I guess it's actually okay.
That was close.
Close one.
Close one. Next question. Mr. Justin Boosie. Do you believe we are due for a new home console? I'll go first. Yes. Pete?
Yes. Give me it tomorrow. Johnny?
Yeah, I would love a new console, but I don't think it's quite the time yet. But I do believe it'll be coming up in about a year. Gamester.
I agree with Johnny. I think there's too many consoles in the market as it is. Big three. I think it would just really flood the market if they had another one, and it'd have to be unique enough to really attract people to buy it. Vintage to you.
Dreamcast 2. Bring it.
Oh, good answer. Nice.
Amen.
I
got one.
Who's got another question?
Fine, Pete, you do it.
Gamester, you go because you wanted to go. All right.
Okay.
What's your favorite racing game? All right, hold on.
That was mine, dude. That was my pick.
Okay, you go.
No, it's all good. We can do it at the same time. Let's read it together.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3. What's your favorite racing game of all time?
That was totally out of sync.
Boo.
That was gay.
Ooh.
Let's hold hands next time.
I'm gonna have to sync that shit up in post production. Pissing me off.
All right, so yeah, Pete and I have the same question. So I guess I need to choose a new one. Is that how it goes, or what?
No, you get that one. It's cool.
Just answer the fucking question.
Okay.
We've never done this before.
Okay, we didn't.
Whoever's going, you're at 12 seconds. Whoever's going, I don't know.
I'm gonna go old school. Favorite racing game of all time. I'm going out of left field here. Pole position is my favorite. Pole position. Favorite one of all time. Okay. Vintage. We'll go with you, man. How about you?
Favorite racing?
Yeah.
I like virtual racing. That's a pretty good one. On the 32X.
Nice.
Just gets a giggle because of 32.
It's actually a pretty good port.
All right, you got to pass the time.
Oh, great. I'd love to go.
Jason?
You stole it, actually, Vintage.
Yes.
Virtual racing. On the arcade, though. I have the twin deluxe.
That is excellent.
And that right there is
How
the
was that
cabinet
getting
to
that
have.
into your house? Was that difficult? Did you have to take out a wall or anything?
You ever drive a
No, I
forklift
have not.
before? If you're going to own one, you need to learn how to drive a forklift. It has forklift areas that says put fork here on the back.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty heavy. Okay, Johnny, you.
Ridge Racer 4, easy one, PS1, love that game. Actually, this is a strange one to admit. This is actually one of the really first racing games I really sat down with and really played the hell out of. I loved it. I played all the older ones, but that was the one that really did it for me. Peter Dorr.
I just want to give a quick shout out as well to Jonathan Ferrari because he also asked us what is your favorite racer of all time, but we did not see his first. So my answer, it's really close between Diddy Kong Racing on N64 and Ridge Racer 6. However, I kind of hate Ridge Racer 6 right now for deleting my game save. Well, I kind of did it. But
Live.
Yes, live. Freaking deleted my game save of over 100 hours worth of gameplay. So I'm going to pick Diddy Kong Racing because of that. I absolutely love that game. Yes, I do like it more than Mario Kart 64. I know some people hate Diddy Kong, but I just love the adventure aspect to that game. And hell, it was a good Mario Kart knockoff. So that's my answer.
Close.
Very.
That was close.
Next question.
Close.
Okay, this is from Chad Smith. And he asks, which do you prefer, turn-based or action-based combat in RPGs? And I'll start it off. That's a tough one. I love Zelda, but let's see. I like turn-based. I like Dragon Quest types of games. I like Lost Odyssey. Pete, how about you?
That's a really tough one.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's really, really tough. It just depends. I really have been taking a nice liking to action RPGs because it's kind of fresh and unique. But there's just something that brings me back to turn-based. Like some of my favorite RPGs from this generation have been old-school turn-based RPGs. Darkspire, Etrian Odyssey, even Pure Solar now. So you know what, I'm going to say turn-based. Yeah. What about you, Gamester?
I'll agree with you too as well. Turn-based. It's just because I grew up playing that and just more familiar with that. But it's really tough for me personally as well. Jason, how about you, buddy?
Definitely turn-based. It's just again, same answer. It's what I grew up playing all the way, turn-based. Vintage, what about you?
Well, I'm not a huge RPG guy, but I probably, yeah, I know. But I know I'd probably go with action-based because, yeah, sorry.
Awesome. I love that. It's amazing.
Uh-oh. Johnny's going to fall in love with a goat now.
Couldn't even get it going. I probably
Get it right. It's a fucking sheep.
Been a while since that whale. Goat sound.
I'm sorry, Vintage. I interrupted you. Sorry.
I was thinking goat too, but that's it. Is that everybody? I have a question too.
Go ahead.
Okay, go.
Yeah, hit it.
All right, this is Colton Murphy. He asks, do you guys ever look at thrift stores for games? And what is your best finds? Yes, I do look at thrift stores. And probably my best find ever was at a Goodwill. I found a bunch of Super Nintendo games. I got Yoshi's Island 2, Super Mario RPG,
wow,
and one other one that slips mine right now, but they were only $1 each.
Nice.
Gamester, you're up.
Wow, that's a tough. I mean, yes, I do go to garage sales and I go to vintage stores as well. But as far as I picked up Stadium Events for $0.25 at a garage sale. No, I don't know, man. I'm on the spot. I only got a minute. Fuck.
You got 40 seconds.
I don't know. 40 seconds left. No, I don't know. I got. I picked up Final Fantasy VII Black Label for $10, which is a pretty good deal, I guess.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too bad. Now, even though I had a original copy as well, but for $10, you can't beat that. So I'm going to pass the baton to Jason.
Yes, of course I go to garage sales and vintage stores and thrift stores. Who doesn't as a gamer? The best find I ever found was at a Goodwill in Portland, Oregon. Walked in there, looked into the glass counter. You guys know the glass counter. That's where you got to go first.
Oh yeah.
They had in a plastic bin a whole bunch of Virtual Boy games. And I didn't know until she pulled out the box and brought it up on the thing. They were factory sealed.
Wow.
I have probably, I know, it was crazy. They were $10 a piece, it's kind of expensive, but they were sealed. I have probably 8 or 9 of them that are factory sealed. And then there was a couple others that are in box, but not sealed. So pretty amazing find there. It was the best ever. It will go down in history as the best.
Did you get Jack Brothers by chance?
No, I did not.
Waterworld?
Yes.
Was that sealed?
Yes.
You fuck.
Don't fuck you, motherfucker!
Yeah, you fuck.
Pete, how much is that game worth sealed?
It's maybe worth about $150, but it's probably the second rarest U.S. Virtual Boy game, probably tied with Nestor's Monkey Bowling. I'd say not second rarest, but still, that's a nice find.
I have the game I got originally when it first came out.
It's a fairly rare game in the U.S. It's not terribly rare.
It's a terrible game. Like
terrible game.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Cartridge only?
Yeah, that game is fucking shit.
I'd probably say between 35 and 50.
Yeah, okay. Waterworld makes me want to gash my eyes out with a screwdriver. The game is horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. It's almost as bad as the movie in that same.
And that's why I'm happy I don't have to open it and play it. Oh, Pete, you're up.
Jesus, let's see here.
Guy?
Well, the good ones, let's see. Here's a fairly decent one. This is from Alvin Tan. Do you guys think we'll reach a point in the future where there is only one single game console / device instead of devices by different manufacturers, example, Sony and Microsoft? Ooh, I don't think so, honestly. I think if it ever comes to that point, video games will be done with. That's just my personal opinion. Physical video games, I would think, will be done with if we ever got to that point. What about you, Johnny?
I think differently than you. I think there will be one machine one day that will unite everything into one. It will be one giant orb, and you'll just hold it, and that'll be it. And you'll be happy.
It's like the ring, the one ring to rule us all.
Yeah, it'll be called. It'll be called the gaming sphere. You heard it here first. Yeah, it'll be owned by all of the companies. Will invest into one machine. I love it. The control the hearts and minds of children everywhere. Gamester, what about you?
I don't think any time in the immediate future, but I think we're getting closer and closer to that. I mean, look at the OnLive system with games from different makers, and then you see Sega making the move to making games for consoles. They're not making their own console anymore. I think we're getting closer to it, but I think we're still probably like 10, 15 years away before we see that. That's my personal opinion. Jason?
Yeah, if it comes to that point, I agree with you, Pete. I think video gaming in general it's going to really fizzle out, and I don't see that ever happening. Video game industry is one of the biggest industries out there. So, yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon.
And I think competition is good for the gaming industry.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah, definitely.
Definitely. How about you, Vintage?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys covered it pretty well. I mean, I think what I'm scared of is the day when there's no more like physical games. No more discs, no more cartridges. It's all downloadable. I mean, I think we're probably inevitably going there, but I think that'll be a sad day, for us old school guys.
Just make us all band together.
Vintage, I have a quick question for you. Do you think there'll ever be a cartridge-based system again? Or do you think the cartridge-based system's dead?
Yeah, you know what? Probably it's pretty safe to put the nail in the coffin on that one. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, with Blu-ray technology, I mean, how many, how much data can you fit on there? I don't even know. Like, how many gigs go on a Blu-ray? You guys know?
Yeah, isn't it 50 or 60 gigs?
Oh, I mean, you'll never get that on. You'll never get that on a cartridge, as far as I know. I mean, well, you know what? I mean, then again, I mean, you've got these SD cards. They're tiny and they have tons of gigs on there. It's interesting. I think it probably could be done. And I think cartridges are more reliable. I mean, there's less chance of them getting damaged or scratched. I think I would love to see that in the future, but I just think it's unlikely just because of the way things are going with the Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes a technology tip. A single layer Blu-ray disc can hold 25 gigs. A dual layer Blu-ray disc can hold 50 gigs. And also multi-layered Blu-ray discs that can hold anywhere between 100 to 200 gigabytes.
Whoa.
25 per layer. This has been a tech tip from Jason Heine.
I didn't know this was an educational program.
It's not. We just fake it at times.
I'm smarter now.
I feel smarter. I'm much smarter now.
Are you eating Smarties?
Oh,
is that everybody? We all picked a question.
That's it. That's a good segment.
I like that new segment. Yeah.
I do too. We just post it on Facebook and let people go there. So hey, if you're not following us on Facebook and joining in, now's a good chance to do it.
And we're only going to answer questions on that particular day, right? We're not going to go back to the archives and look at
it's
past
just
days,
that
right?
one time,
Only that one time. So one-time deal. So
cool. Thanks, guys.
Meaning there will be a new post every week. So please, after you see our cutoff, which I just posted on there that, hey, we selected 5-year questions, blah, blah, blah. That means don't post any more questions because we're not going to use them. Save them for the next post next week.
Beautiful.
That's
So moving on
fun.
with the questions, we should get into some others, huh?
Yeah, let's get into some audio questions. What do you say?
Ooh.
Oh.
Jason's getting better at echoing that sound effect there, huh?
Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh.
Can't tell the difference.
Ooh.
Creepy. I love it.
Ooh.
I can't tell the difference.
Can't tell the difference. Just kidding.
What up, guys? This is the Comeback Kid, and my question for you guys at All Gen Gamers is, what do you think about the recently announced Sega Dreamcast collection coming out for the Xbox 360 and the PS3? If you Google it, it will actually pop up. The very first link is the Sega Dreamcast collection. And apparently, since the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection did so well here, that they're actually going to release a Sega Dreamcast collection. So, what do you guys think of this? Are you excited? I mean, hopefully we can get, Shenmue, Power Stone, and I really, really hope that they actually listen to everybody and enable online co-op with these games. If they would have included that with the original Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection, where we could have played Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Sonic co-op online, that would have made it the greatest game ever in the history of games. So hopefully they will include this with the Dreamcast collection. What do you guys think? Let me know. Comeback Kid out.
All right, so you guys ready for this? Ready? The Sega Dreamcast collection, 50, 60 games all in one. Here's the official list for the Sega Dreamcast
It's gonna be like
collection.
4 games, isn't it?
Hit him with it, Pete. Hit him with it.
Crazy Taxi, Sonic Adventure, Sega Bass Fishing, Space Channel 5 Part 2. There you go.
You're fucking
Have fun.
shitting me.
Have fun.
Wow.
Shenmue says hi.
No
Power Stone says
No
hi.
Shenmue. No Soul Calibur. I mean, nothing, huh?
Soul Calibur.
I mean, come on. What a,
That's terrible. Terrible.
Terrible,
Collection,
terrible,
that's
terrible.
4
Really
games.
terrible.
That's like a rehash of just downloadable games you can get already, because Crazy Taxi and Sonic Adventure are already available online anyway, right?
On Xbox
That's
Live,
stupid.
Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of
And
a
they took
dumbed
away
down
the
version of it,
Offspring
but
music too, which
Yeah,
is like
exactly.
the best thing about the game, the music.
yeah.
Oh man, that's disappointing. How much is it? $29.99, right, or something like that? It's retailing for.
Fuck.
Oh yeah, wow, 29. It is $29.99. Holy crap! And it comes out on
Yeah.
February 22nd in the U.S. What a
I'm
load
gonna
of
pass.
crap on that.
That's like the Mario All Stars game where Nintendo did just rehash these games and took ROMs and put on a CD and expect people
Well,
to pay all this money.
hell,
At
if
least
this was
Nintendo
me-
had it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this was me at Sega releasing this, maybe okay, $29.99, release 4 games at a time. Dreamcast collection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Maybe include a little book with some information on each one of the games, the history behind it. Maybe a little soundtrack with 2 songs with each game. Something a little cool. That would have been me. Okay.
at least
So-
Nintendo gave us that in the,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by this. I mean, I'm wondering, who do they think they're marketing this to? Because the younger kids, I think they're not really going to care. And if they're going for the older crowd that actually remembers the Dreamcast, you would think they would want to put more of more content on there. I kind of see where they were going with the bass fishing and the Space Channel 5. That probably uses the Kinects or whatever it is, the Move.
No, it won't
Which
even
one?
use that.
It doesn't use that at all. I mean, with the bass fishing,
Nope.
you're not going to have the Dreamcast fishing controller, available. So I'm kind of stumped by that choice.
Well, there is I've seen it before in the stores. There is a fishing controller out there. I think it's packaged with Real Bass Pro. I don't know. I don't play fishing games, but there is one out there. So I have seen one on the Xbox before. But still, who the hell is going to go out and buy that for one game on a collection? I mean, come on.
All I can say, this game sounds really fishy to me. It's, you can't deny it.
Man, you are good with those
He's incredible
bad
with them.
jokes. Yeah,
Incredible.
and he comes up with them on the fly.
Where's that goat, Jason?
Hey, that was
Dude, Giants fall in love with a goat?
I'm having a courtship going on. That's all.
Oh, no.
Nothing to see here. Keep moving on. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
when they start making these games online, that's when we'll have something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What a Dreamcast collection. Oh my
'Cause-
god.
Bass fishing online co-op would be awesome.
Fuck yeah, dude. You're driving the boat. I'm holding your rod. Absolutely.
It would be the first
Actually-
time. Oh, wait. What?
Are any of you fans of the Virtual On series?
Oh, I play in the arcade
Yeah.
quite a bit.
I was going to mention there was, I don't remember the exact name of it, but there was a new Virtual On game, not a crappy arcade game, but an actual full-fledged release that took place on the 360, and it's region-free. It was released in Japan or whatever, but it is region-free and it has online play 4-player. So if any of you are into Virtual On, you can
I like
import it.
Virtual On. I'm a big fan.
Let's import a few copies of those. Let's do it.
Yeah, region-free. I was thinking about it. I just
Where
need
can you
some
get in
people to play with.
PlayAsia or something?
Yeah, PlayAsia.
All right. That sounds cool. I played the snot out of it in the arcade, man.
if it's Play Asia, it's going to be like $180 for the game or something.
I don't know if I like Virtual On anymore.
Yeah, I did like it last week, but not this week.
Yeah, it's something like $60, $70, I think.
Yes, it is. $80, $90, somewhere in there.
Johnny, will you get one for me and then?
Sure, of course, Jason.
Okay,
I'd love
thanks.
to do that. And I'm going to get you one of those dual arcade sticks so you can play the way you're supposed to play it. That'd be awesome.
They did come out with one of those, I think, and it's
Sure they did.
ridiculously expensive.
There was
Sure
one for the
they did.
Dreamcast, I remember back in the day, too. Yeah. Speaking of the Dreamcast, cast your dreams away with that collection.
I have Virtual On the Saturn, dude.
It sucks.
Do you guys
Yeah,
have
I have
Virtual
that
On
one
on
too.
Saturn? Yeah, I have the online one.
nice.
Saturn
really?
Netlink.
That's
You got-
cool.
Yeah, it's actually really sweet.
That's funny. The Virtual on the Dreamcast, which didn't have online, which is weird when you think about it.
Yeah, and the Saturn did. Go figure.
That's what the fuck? I gotta look that up later on. That's weird. Okay. Strange times we live in. So, let's do another question.
Yeah, do we all answer that one?
Yep.
That was great.
Yep.
Hey all Gen Gamers, it's me, Jackinator45 from YouTube, and I've got two questions to ask. First one, what would your guys' favourite indie game of all time be? Bonus points if the whale answers. And two, what is your guys' opinion on Steam? Thanks.
Favorite indie game and Steam.
Oh boy. Do we get wait? The whale didn't answer. We get bonus points if he answers.
Well, it's got to answer it first.
Cool.
Nice.
That's a
Yeah.
good one. He stole my pick, though. It pisses me off, motherfucker.
Smart whale.
What's the goat have to say about it?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
People are going to be like, fuck, there was the whale and there's the goddamn goat.
No.
Welcome to the All Gen Gamers Barnyard Fuckfest.
So I just want to say that answering for me on this question will be the GOAT. He will explain it the best for me, my opinions on all these matters. Mr. GOAT, please tell them what I really think. Yes. Yeah. That's it. Yes. So that's my answer to the question. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Gamester.
What was the question? Favorite independent game, indie game? That's easy. Made with the Balloons. And what's this? I don't know. Favorite indie game? I don't know. This pretty. I don't know. I mean, Pure Solar looks pretty cool, doesn't it? But I haven't got a chance to play because it's so fucking expensive. But oh gosh, what's the second part? What's the second question?
What are your thoughts on Steam?
Oh yeah, when the steam happens in mirrors, it pisses me off because I can't comb my hair, I can't shave. I have to wait for the steam to disappear from the mirror.
He doesn't like Steam.
That really pisses me off. So that's my thoughts about Steam. Is it sucks and it's really humid and stuff. I don't like Steam at all.
Yeah, it makes you sweat.
Vintage makes you sweat. Vintage. How about you, buddy?
Sure. Favorite indie game is probably Indiana Jones Adventures for the Super Nintendo. No, seriously, I feel bad. We're like really just killing this guy's question. But you know who's really good about talking about indie games is there's a guy I watched called Tiger Claw TV. He does a lot of he does a lot of freeware type stuff. And also, Dinky Dana, you had him on the show. He does a lot of those like downloadable type reviews. And so I would definitely check out his channel for those. And as far as Steam, I just kind of got introduced to that recently because, we were talking about Bionic Commando Rearmed. And, I found out that it's a site where I guess you can download, different types of games. And it looks like to me, they have, basically like a lot of old school stuff on there, but they also have, and they have the new stuff. Like I'm looking at the site now and they have Back to the Future, the game, which I guess got released in December. So, I mean, I think it's a cool thing. I think it's convenient. A lot of times you don't, maybe you can't find, sometimes you can't find stuff in the store. So I think it's good.
So is it kind of like on live then? Essentially, that's what it sounds like. I don't know much about it, but it sounds like on live.
I think you can
like you didn't download games.
Stuff. Yeah.
Let me know when you guys want the full breakdown on what Steam is.
Real quick though, I just found my favorite indie game. It's the Super Mario crossover. if that counts. You guys played that?
Yes, that's where they
Okay.
they've got all the different characters.
Yeah, that's
right?
very cool.
Yeah, you can be Link, and you can be Metroid. You can be Mega Man, stuff like that. So that's my favorite one. So that's my legitimate answer. I didn't mean to butcher it before. I know, no disrespect, but Jason, explain Steam to me, please.
Well, when you're cooking and you have the top, it's a pot, and when you have a lid on it,
What?
if the water is boiling and you pull it up, it will burn you. No, okay. So what Steam is, and I've been using Steam back when it launched. I remember when Steam was just a video game launcher for Valve games. I mean, there was Half-Life, the original Half-Life on there. There was Counter-Strike and like Team Fortress 1. That's about it. That's all it was on there. It didn't have all these advanced, excellent, awesome features it has now. It has evolved into basically what Xbox Live is, but for PC, and it's free. And you can have friends rosters. When you play games, it updates your status of what you're playing, what server you're in. You can join the game. You can host games. You can download games. I've got Doom. I've got Need for Speed. I've got, you name it. It has all current gen and old school games you can download. They're all reasonably priced. It's a great service, and it has evolved quite a bit. So, and they did launch it last year for Mac, which is cool. So you can play it on PC or Mac. So yeah, Steam's great. I love Steam. Been using it a long time. So that answers that. And then
How much are the games?
It just really depends. No, they're actually reasonably priced. All the current gen games, they're going to be retail priced, but they have sales all the time. Like every weekend is a new sale. There's always promotions. I mean, I was playing the original Red Faction. I got it for like $5. I bought Rainbow Six Vegas 2 for $5. Over QuakeCon, they had a sale for like, how many games was it? I think it was like 25 or 30 ID Software games, all in one bundle. It was $50.
Wow.
Dating back all the way from, Wolfenstein and Doom all the way up to like Doom 3 and all these newer. And I bought it for $50. It gives you like 30, 25 games. Anyway, it's a really cool deal. So
they got you don't know Jack, a new one. Do you remember that game? You don't know Jack.
Yeah, it's like a
the trivia question
game.
one.
Yeah,
dude, I used to play that all the time on like Windows 95 and shit. That's crazy, huh?
I wonder if they have it on Steam.
$20. They do. I'm looking at it right now. $20 on Steam.
There you go. So that's a good way to and they have friends list. You can see who's playing and who's on. General Jason, if anyone wants to hit me up there, the general's in. And, that's about it.
Jason, have you ever heard of a site called Good Old Games? It's like GOG.com.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's kind of in a similar vein, but it's mostly like old school PC games.
Yeah, true. It's a good site.
Yeah, I heard about it from Black Lily 8, who's also does a show called Matt Chat, which is really great. He actually talks to a lot of video game developers, like real living legends. It's definitely something worth checking out. But it's pretty cool. I went on there and I actually found one. I'm not a big PC gamer, but when I was in college, I played a lot, and I found this one, and it's called Blood on PC, and it's like it's like one of these old like first person shooters, kind of like Quake.
Oh, dude, yeah, 3D Realms.
Yeah, but it was like $4, so it's definitely worth checking out. They had like King's Quest series on there for like $5. It's pretty cool. And then then you download the stuff, and it runs in DOSBox. But it's really easy to set up.
Going back to our emulation talk, that's exactly what Steam uses. And when you launch these games, DOSBox pops up on your screen and launches the game, and the game will run natively on your system. The games are updated, they're patched, and they're functional. Right. You know how if I put the original Doom in my CD-ROM drive right now and load it up, my Windows 7 or even my XP is going to shit a brick. It's not going to know what the hell to do with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I can double click it and launch it from Steam, and it fires right up every time.
Okay. So it sounds like it's different than the OnLive system in the sense it doesn't stream it. You actually download them, and the physical, it actually downloads the data to your system. That's it. I'm gonna have to look into it for sure.
Definitely. Well, John, because I know we've been talking about this recently. Actually, you're talking about, you wanted to you were thinking about maybe building a PC to play some old DOS games and stuff. Dude, I mean, if they're there, let's play them together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm at this GOG.com at Vintage Mention, and they have Police Quest 1, 2, 3, 4 for $10 total.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love those old Sierra point and click games like King's Quest, Police Quest, Space Quest. All those are classic. Missed for $6. Wow, cool.
Yeah, and they've
cool
blown up in the last couple of years with all these new games. And they're doing current gen. They do pre-orders. They do all sorts of stuff. It's a really, really great service.
That's cool. Very cool.
Oh, and favorite indie game? Hydro Thunder.
Hydro Thunder.
I know it's not indie, but I don't give a shit. That's what it is.
Don't give a shit.
Did you guys get my Indiana Jones joke?
I did. I got it. Indie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Actually, no. I only
catch
got
that.
it now, and it's hitting me now. It's being damn.
It's a good one.
I'm a little slow.
All right.
Hey.
Last audio question. Should we hit it?
Sure. Let's hit it.
Hold on.
Don't forget.
Hey, all.
I've got to answer real quick.
Oh, Peter Door. I'm so sorry.
I don't know. Wait, I guess you'd classify Pure Solar as an indie game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would pick that.
definitely.
I'm not far enough into it to definitely say that would be my definite pick, though I'd have to probably say that will eventually be my pick. If I'm going to not pick Pure Solar, because I haven't beat it yet, I'd probably say Marble Blast Ultra on the Xbox Live Arcade, which is sort of similar to, say, Marble Madness, only much more devilish in some of its levels. It's very similar to, say, Super Monkey Ball, if anybody's played that. Really, really fun game. If you haven't played it, check it out. It's a very early Xbox Live Arcade game that basically, I believe, came out as soon as the 360 launched, basically. So it's been out for a while. It's due for a sequel. Good game.
You know who talks about Marble Madness all the time? My dad.
It's a good game.
Yeah,
I used to play it. Yeah.
Have him on the show.
You really should. It's one of those things, man. It's one of those games. You know, those puzzle games? Adults love those, especially back in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? When games were evolving. It's like
Right.
Dr. Mario. Man, they love Dr. Mario.
Man, I remember I had the Game Boy Color version of Marble Madness, and I think that was the first version I owned of the game, and I just remember the visuals just blew me away. I'm like, wow, this is 3D. Look at this on my Game Boy Color, and just amazing what they can do with just different shades of colors, isn't it? And lines.
It's so hard. The game is so hard. It's so
It
challenging.
is. I don't think I ever passed the second level on the freaking
I
Game Boy.
played on the Apple IIc was the first version I played on it, and then I obviously moved on to the NES version. But it was just so tough. It's a classic game.
That was in the arcades, right?
I think
I
so.
feel like I feel like I played it in the
With
arcade.
I think you're right. I
Did it
think
have a
I do
roller
remember
ball?
I actually kind of remember playing that myself.
It had a roller ball. That's right.
Huh.
Yeah, I've played that in the arcade, actually. I don't remember where, but I have a very faint memory of that.
hmm
Excellent. All right, so on to the last audio question, guys.
Sure.
Hey, all Gen Gamers. John here from YouTube channel Geeker Days. I actually had a question for everybody. It's something that's been on my mind for a while. I've always been a gamer as far as back as I can remember, but up until recently, I've caught myself sliding into more of a casual gamer motif. When I was younger, I always wanted to play games on a hard, extreme difficulty for Street Fighter, what have you, in RPGs like Final Fantasy, get 100%. But I found that as I got older and had, less time, I became more content to play games on easy, and also, just to get through a game, just for the sake of getting through it and enjoying the story more than getting 100% completion. I just don't know maybe if this is something that you guys have noticed yourself, or if so, let me know what you think. I'm really interested. All right, thanks.
Oh, that's a great one. Can I take this away?
Please do.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. Is that when you're younger, you have nothing but time on your hands. You come home from school, you can just play video games. You don't have to worry about anything. And I hate to say that you get older and you run out of time, but you're a little bit smarter with your time. But it's harder to say, isn't it? Like, if it's a great game, I'll put the time in. I've never stopped liking video games. And I think if you kind of get into that casual thing, maybe you should just slow down. Maybe he's doing the right thing for himself, but for myself, I like playing games. for sure. And I don't have as much time as I used to, but I still use my time to play games. I enjoy it. I want it to be part of my life. What do you guys think? Like, chime in here.
I think you're right. I agree with you, John. I think when you get older, your time's more limited and more valuable, and you have to be more responsible with your time and other duties. You have to, so it changes things on how because when you're young.
Yeah, but I don't want to say to anybody out there, oh yes, when you get older, you run out of time, because that's not really the case.
That's not the case.
Like,
it's just
you
have to prioritize things a little bit, and in your games as well. So
wait till you have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say it's the full-time job that affects the time, that's what affects if I wasn't working a full-time job, I'd be okay. I'd be okay for games. I'd be doing well. But that's the problem. You have to have a job when you get old. That's as simple as that. If you don't, you're living, you're living down the road, on a van down by the river. That's kind of how that works. So it's unfortunate. What do you think, Pete, on that one?
I don't know. It's kind of like what you guys were saying. Like, for example, with me and Nier, I kind of tried to power my way through that game because I want to finish it, because I got a lot of games that I want to play. So in terms of games and wanting to finish them all and not having time to play them, I still enjoy them, but I don't complete them 100% like say I used to. Like, I don't play a game through 2 times, even though I really want to do it. I kind of want to move on to another game because time is a little bit limited in terms of, the amount of time I can dedicate to these 30, 40 hour games these days.
Oh yeah.
So like with Nier, that game is kind of meant to be played through 2+ times to get the full effect, but I really can't do that anymore. I gotta just move on. I can't get caught up on a single game for too long, which is a good thing why I'm not playing Final Fantasy 11 anymore, because God knows how I get caught up in that game. And in terms of his question about the difficulty and what do you play on, easy, medium, hard, I've always been kind of a medium difficulty kind of guy. I want to get basically what the developers intended to be the regular experience of the game. I'm actually not a fan of games that let you adjust the difficulty on the fly. So sort of in Oblivion, how all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is too hard, let me adjust the difficulty. I don't like that, because I don't want to be tempted to be adjusting my difficulty.
It will tempt you to do that too. It will tempt you to do that. I don't care what anybody says. The temptation is there.
Like I kind of feel bad with Oblivion, where when I first picked up Oblivion, I put like 70 hours into it, and I never finished the story of the game because I got so involved with the side quests. So like a year later, I went back to it, and I'm like, I just want to finish it. So I toned the difficulty all the way down, and I played like the last 2 hours of that game, just running through the levels, like barely killing the enemies, because I just wanted to see the ending of the story. Yeah. So I'm not a fan of them allowing you to do that.
I like short games too. I love short games. I used to like 60 hours until to like Dragon Quest 7, which, as I said, was about 140 hours for me to finish that game. It's ridiculous. That was stupid. Like, that's too much. Like, I like a 10. I'd rather play. It's quality over quantity, and that's what Dragon Quest 7 was. It was quantity rather than quality. If they got rid of half that game, it would have been awesome, and put the rest into development time, build some different types of things. That'd been great. Same thing over and over. I don't know. What do you guys think, Jason? What do you think?
Well, I get in like certain moods, like sometimes I want to power through a game. Like, I knew I wanted to play like Black Ops. I knew I wanted to go through the campaign before I even jumped online. I pulled an all-nighter, just blazed through it. Same thing with like Bad Company 2. Same thing with like Hydro Thunder. It's like my 3 games there. It's all I play. I've never played any other games, actually. I've just been living a lie this entire time. No, but you know what? Sometimes the casual thing, yeah, of course. Sometimes you just want to put the game on easy or kick back and just play the game.
Sure.
Sometimes I don't want to get challenged.
There's
Sometimes
no law, is there? There's no law that says you have to do anything a certain way.
Exactly. So the casual thing totally makes sense. I do it all the time. Sometimes I want to challenge, put it on hard, go through it. But yeah, I totally, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. And I think it's totally normal. And if you're, take a break from it for a while and do something else,
Yeah. Vintage, what do you think?
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, to the listener, nice use of the word motif in a sentence. I definitely appreciated that. But as far as the difficulty, when I was a kid, I think I'm kind of the opposite of him. He said he would always go for hard. I would always go for easy because I thought I'm just a little kid. And, I don't want to get my butt kicked right off the bat when I'm trying to get used to this game. So back then I would do easy, but now, as a quote unquote grown up, now I agree with Pete and I go with normal for my first playthrough. And, to get that baseline experience. And then as far as the time and the game, available, I'll just say, I have the full-time job. I also have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful children. So a lot of my time, goes to them, and that's how it should be. And, I have my hobby, which is collecting, which I'm also passionate about. And, I have a lot of games here that I've picked up along the way, but, right now in my life situation, the only time I really get to play games is when I'm trying to do a review for them. So I think it just really depends. The bottom line is it depends on, what is your life situation. And, and I always say, you just got to keep things in perspective and, and remember what's really important. And then you'll be okay.
Well said. Really good. Does anybody else want to? Hey, shut the fuck up, you. I thought I told you to shut up.
Peeking his head out from under the bed, like, Johnny.
Yeah, I wouldn't let him do that. He'd have to stay in the bed.
Get a boot in the face.
Yeah, that's exactly. And don't tell you what to do.
This has been a fun podcast.
It has been fun.
Unlike the other pieces of shit.
Yeah, I got a rivalry going this time with John with Gamester. I love it. We're getting angry.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You and your goat, man. Fuck you and your goat.
Yeah, you're just jealous of me and my fucking goat.
Look, you guys, all you need to do is ask me, and I'll give you an animal. I'll sign you each one, like fucking bathroom pass.
Let Gamester's dogs battle it out with Johnny.
Yeah, he's got the dogs. I get goat.
My dogs will fuck your goat up.
I think
get the Mortal Kombat music in the background.
Goat had a nice ring to it, though.
Mortal Kombat! This podcast has gone to total shit. It's gone to the dogs.
Oh yes.
Mortal Kombat.
Okay, here's one. I got a question for you guys. Okay. So, guys, it's that time. We're going to answer some questions from the forums now. For those listeners who don't know about the forums, go into Pete's Game Room forum.com, and you'll see a link to All Gen Gamers. And through that, you can list a question for us to answer. There are quite a few, but we will do our best to get around to answering as many as we can. This one is from Mega Mike 227 or 227, and his question is to all of us: if you could make your own game, what kind of game would it be? What system? And what would be the brief story of it? I personally would make a crazy zombie game for the 360 where it would be a sort of open world in a city. So that's what he would make. But how about you guys? I'm going to open up to you guys. What do you guys? If you could make any game, what would it be?
I actually, it's so funny. I'll take this one. Is that I don't know if were any of you guys ever excited about RPG Maker on the PS1?
Yeah, I used to play around with that, and even though I never made an RPG, I would just sit there and make shit.
I was really in with the community of that during that time, and we're all making games. And I actually made a game, and I based it on a comic book I was working on, and I had this big comic book in mind. And the comic book was in my mind was going to be like 500 pages and be this huge political drama. And I did about 100 pages of sketches and writing on it, and I never did anything with it. But I made it into a video game, and it was called Atlantean Memories, and it was going to be about the rise and fall of Atlantis, and it was about the political family of Atlantis, and it was going to be something kind of fun. So I actually that would be my game. That's actually something that I did make in RPG Maker. I loved it, and that was on the PS1. It was a huge file too. It took me months, and you know what was a bitch about RPG Maker on the PS1 is that when you were doing your dialogue for what your character would say, there was no keyboard. So you actually had to go pick each individual letter, like click, click, click. Okay, you say you want to spell the, you go all the way to T, then to H, then to E. Writing dialogue was a son of a bitch, but fun times. I get a lot of good memories playing that. So, Pete, what would you make?
I really don't know. I'd probably.
The game would have been an RPG. I just had to clear that up. Obviously, it was an RPG. Actually,
I'd probably want to make something that there's not a lot of out there right now. Some kind of open world platformer with online co-op. Just sort of a combination that you never really see, because the platformer genre right now is sort of. I'm really happy for it. It's sort of in like this, resurfacing of coming back and. On Xbox Live and PSN and all these systems, the 2D platformers are kind of coming back. But I'd love to see more 3D platformers and just throw in an element of online open world co-op or something, then that would be freaking awesome. So just an idea. What about you, Jason?
Well, I'm actually already making it. It's called Battlefield 3. No, actually, I have a lot to say here, so hang with me. Okay, so, first of all, is that RPG Maker, is that worth a lot of money?
I don't know. I don't think it is. It's the PS1 version.
Yep.
No, it's worth like $15-$20.
Okay, because I saw it the other day at Bookman's for $6, and I thought about getting it.
Oh, definitely. It's fun to fuck around. You can create your own 16-bit-ish RPG, and it's really good. Figuring out how to do switching in it is tricky at first, but it can definitely be figured out.
I remember everyone talking about it when it came out, and I was like, wow, that really sounds like fun, and I just never got into it. So if it's still there, I'm going to go get it.
I love that game. I played it for months. I loved it. I think I made like 5 games. I actually made a Sega Gaga on there. Can you believe that?
Johnny, is there a way for you to
like
upload your games from the PS1 version?
Yes.
So I can play your games.
There was a device, and I forget what the name of it was. It was something Intech, or somebody's going to kill me for not knowing this. But yeah, you put your memory card into it, and then you were able to upload it into a certain file format, and then somebody could download that on the internet. And EGM actually had a contest. And here's one for you guys. EGM had an RPG Maker contest when the game first came out. And guess who won the best artwork? Me. I actually won the best artwork.
Wow.
For sure. That was super packaging.
Do they have that in their magazine?
Yeah, it's in I have that magazine somewhere. I'll have to get it.
You should show that.
You should do a video on that, dude. Yeah, you should show that. It's awesome.
It is. It's kind of funny, actually, because the thing that allowed me to get that is that I did all the hand drawing artwork for the box art, and I made like a little art book for inside that when I sent to EGM, I made a little case for the memory card because you had to send them a memory card. I don't even think they played the game. They're like, oh, this kid he did some interesting artwork, and they kept that. So yeah, cool. Jason, sorry, pick it up.
No, that's totally cool. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I forgot about it actually.
And then I guess if I were to create a video game, what I would do is. Big surprise, it would be a first-person shooter, but the difference is I would do something very tactical. It would not be a run and gun. It would be something open world, like large open world, and it would be co-op. So I think those having those key elements, open world, where there isn't a specific place to go. Every area has something different that will happen, and the game will change, and it will be different every time. I think this is a really cool concept, and no one's done it. Tactical, first-person shooter, open world with co-op. I think that'd be great.
I take back my answer. A cooperative Elder Scrolls game.
Ooh, yeah.
End of story.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't know that the next one might be. Nobody said that it's not.
Now, have you played an Elder Scrolls game before, Vintage?
No, I have not.
There you go, Johnny.
Whole open world for that. But you never know. Wouldn't that be a shocker if you could do that? You had like 4-player co-op in that? That'd be freaking amazing.
I remember we were talking about that when we were like, oh, I wonder if there's going to be a new Elder Scrolls, and wouldn't that be so cool to lose our lives if it had online mode? And well, they haven't announced. I highly doubt it'll have online. They haven't announced anything, but that would be the day.
You never know. Let's keep our fingers crossed, but we're not betting the bank on it. Yeah.
All right. Then lastly, guys, I just want to mention real briefly, we're talking about video game creation, and Johnny, you talked about a contest that you wanted. It just actually reminded me of a contest that I'm actually entering in. I wanted to just briefly talk about it. So Electronic Arts and a company called Waves, they make plugins for software like Pro Tools and Final Cut effects and stuff like that that you can layer on and use in your recording sessions. So Electronic Arts and Waves teamed up, and they're doing a competition. Basically what it is it's a sound design competition. Okay, Electronic Arts lets you download the trailer. It's about a 40-second trailer for Need for Speed Shift 2
Yeah.
with no sound.
Oh, beautiful, Jason. That's meant for you.
And then they're also giving you 32 sound effects that you download.
Wow.
And the rules are that you can only use these 32 sound effects and only use Waves plugins. And they give you a 7-day demo of their sound design plugins, which they retail for like $1,500.
Really?
Wow.
So they give you all the plugins, they give you all the sound effects, and they give you the trailer, and they say, put it together and submit it. And if you win, we'll give you the bundle, and then you're entered for them to use your sound design for the trailer of the game.
Wow.
So I've been working on it, and probably by the time this podcast is live, I'll have it on my channel, or it will be up shortly. But I'm working on it, and it's a 40-second trailer. So I don't know. It's a lot of fun.
How's it going, Jason? How's that going? Is that tell us the process?
Yeah, no, it's really coming along. It's actually okay. So here's the premise of the trailer. The trailer is this. Everyone knows the Need for Speed Shift series. Mm-hmm. It's Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed is the name of the game. Basically, what it is, it's a car crash. Okay, like this dude's like upside down in the car. What it is, time has stopped, like freeze time of this accident that has happened on the track. Then what it is there's a camera that goes through the entire crash, like goes by the tire, goes back by the wing, goes out by the car, by the guy's face and his expression, then outside the car into another car. Kind of follow me? So it's like freeze time and a camera angle flying around the scene. It's a really, really cool idea.
Yeah.
So my idea was create the sounds that would have been there in real time, but at a slowed down pace, at the pace of the camera angle. Have I lost any of you?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm with you.
Well, when you see it will make sense. When you see it will make sense.
I got to see
That sounds perfect for you, Jason. I'm really excited for you, man. Good luck with it. That's awesome.
That is awesome. And now, do you get to compose your own original music for that too, or just the sound effects? Or
you can only use their sound effects, and they have like Hollywood quality sounds. I mean, this is.
You know what the winner is going to be? I was going to say is if you can use music, just throw the Mad World song on there and done. Seems like any video game trailer that uses the Mad World song, it's just good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't it start with Gears of War and then it just moved up from there?
Requiem of Dream song, yeah. Put that in there.
That's funny.
Cool. Gamester, what game would you make if you could make a game?
All right. So are you guys familiar with the Leisure Suit Larry series?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
So I would make a Leisure Suit Larry style game, but it'd be a first person RPG elements to it as well. Okay. And the whole premise I would go to these dog parks. Okay, first person, and I'd kind of try to hit up on these women. My problem is my nemesis Johnny Millennium. He keeps interrupting me while I'm trying to pick these up. Right, him and his fucking goat. So in that point, that's where the RPG elements would fall into play, where it would be my dogs like attacking these goats.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that's my style of game.
But you know what I'd do? I'd hack into your game and rape your dogs. So that'd be the end of that game, buddy.
Doggy style.
Game over. You lose. Questions.
And the final boss of the game would be the whale. At the very end, because it'd be the final boss.
I'd be Moby Dick.
Him and Jason. That's my game.
That's a game I would love to play.
Yes, definitely. It would be awesome. Vintage.
Yes, sir.
What about you?
I'll be quick. I would probably like to make a good Superman game because I personally have not played one. I mean, maybe I'm missing something.
64 was awesome.
Jesus. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, you know what I would love is it. I'm so disappointed. There was a Superman arcade game. Have you guys ever played that? It was 2-player. It was a just a regular cabinet type game, and it was awesome. It was like a beat 'em up, and you would kind of go through, and you could use your heat vision, and you would just like beat up guys, and there were like 2 Supermans. So like one was the regular Superman, and then the player 2 would be like he was like in red and yellow or something weird like that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually a cool game, and I wish it would come out for, I keep looking for it to come out in some kind of a compilation or whatever. To my knowledge, it doesn't exist. I'm sure you could get it on MAME, but I don't I don't know how to do that. So that would be really great, because all the Superman games, it seems like they're just so repetitive. It seems like all you ever do is punch robots.
And Vintage, that game is actually by Taito, released in 1988. That arcade game you're referring to. Yeah.
Great game. And the other thing that always bugs me about Superman games is like, it's like you have to like, you never start out with your full powers. You know, it's almost like you have to, you know, level them up and stuff. And I just want someone to make a Superman game where it's like, look, you're Superman, you just, you know, destroy everybody and everything. Because that's how it
the Hulk.
Hey, Vintage, have you played The Death and Life of Superman on the Genesis or Super Nintendo? That's actually a pretty decent game for a Superman game. Have you played that?
Yes, I have both versions of that. And it is good. It definitely is, you know, as far as like, you know, the 16-bit generation. Yeah. I mean, that was a decent entry, but still it isn't, I don't think it was as good as the arcade that came out in 88.
Let's try the arcade game out. Yeah.
Arcade looks pretty sweet, man. I'm looking at a picture of it right now.
It's pretty fun.
Who's left to answer this question?
I think that was
answered.
Yeah,
I think we've all gone.
Yeah.
It's that time of the podcast for Love Talk with Johnny Millennium. Mr. Millennium, are you ready?
I was born ready last week.
This question is from Niker411, and his question is: on here is my question. I'm liking on this girl, but she lives in England. I'm in California. Do you think I should try a long distance thing? What should I do? Johnny, to you.
The old classic long distance relationship. And I think a lot of people can say that even if a girl lives in another town, most times it doesn't work out. And we're talking about different continents here. And what's fascinating is, I have a personal thing that I'll get into and do it really quick, is that I actually, probably around 7 years ago actually, here, like, I kind of fell for this girl online. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that, but it happened. And she lived in England, you know, my home country. And we talked back and forth, and we didn't have Skype then, right? But we actually talked on the phone quite a lot, and talked on like MSN and all that crap and all this. So anyways, it was going pretty good, and it was actually getting to a point where I was thinking about going to England to meet her. I really was. I really thought, this girl is awesome. Like, you know, like British, you know, like my home country. Maybe I'll just pack up and go back over there. You know, man, I was losing my mind. I think I was going crazy back then or something. But anyways, get this. We've talked every day for months. Then all of a sudden, no contact. Nothing. I didn't hear nothing from her. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? And I was phoning, the phone number wouldn't go through, all this. I'm like, it's not as though like we had a falling out or something. It was just like, one day we didn't talk, and it was like nothing. I was like, holy shit. So eventually I was able to track down her. Like, I remember I had her, you know, like a phone number, another phone number of hers. I'm like, oh, I have this other number. And I phoned her, and I finally got her, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like, are you you okay? What's going on? She's like, I'll write to you. I'm gonna write to you. I'm like, okay. And this is it. This is funny. I ended up getting a letter from her, of all things. And it came like a week later. And in the letter, it actually said, wow, you know, I'll cut it short here, but like, wow, you know, like, I really, you know, had a real thing for you. And oh my God, you know, there was a lot of love stuff going on in there, a lot of nice talk. But she's like, I have something to admit to you. She's like, I'm actually married.
I'm a man.
And no, but the thing is, she had gone through a separation. He'd moved out for a bunch of months. She had talked to me. I didn't know I was the third fucking wheel on this, right? How the hell should I have known? I'm in another fucking country. I don't know nothing. So, you know, gosh. And she's like, yeah, you know, at Christmas time, we kind of got back together and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, you know, like, thanks for fucking being honest. And she'd sent me photos in the mail. She'd, you know, like all sorts of stuff, you know, like she'd send me Christmas presents. Like, this girl was in the end of the day, it was wacko. So, to do with your question, Niker411, long distance relationship? Absolutely not in a million fucking years. Stay far away from that.
How was the phone sex though? Was the phone sex at least good?
Well, actually, no, you know what? I never did that. I'm not that type of guy. I'll have sex with an animal like a goat or a whale. Like phone sex with a woman, that's not going to happen. No interest there.
I've never understood the whole concept of phone. It's so weird.
I'm not interested in that. I'm totally not interested in that at all.
I'll admit, I tried it once.
Yeah, I know.
They were like, she was like, "Where are your hands?" I'm like, "On the phone."
Yeah.
This didn't work out.
I know. She's like, "I'm touching you right now." You're like, "No, you're actually not." This is just a fucking voice.
This is basically how it went. So, what are you doing? I'm playing Duke 3D. What are you doing?
Have any of you guys actually ever done a long distance relationship?
Yeah, I tried it. I was actually living in Seattle at the time, and I was probably how old was I? Maybe middle school. And it was my first kiss, and we were
my God.
all pretty excited, and and I found out she's moving down to Tucson, and that just rocked my world. I'm like, oh man. So same kind of thing with you, Johnny. We kept in contact, and we're like, okay, we'll try this long distance thing. I'm in Seattle, you're in Tucson. We'll make it work, because I love you, because you're my first kiss. I love you. And long story short, kind of similar situation. We talk a lot, letters back and forth, and lost contact. Nothing. One day it was just like no contact. And funny thing is, I get a message on Facebook last year from her. Yeah. And it was crazy. It's so random. And I know we kind of mentioned before, I mentioned before in the podcast, but women always find a way to get back in your life right when you've totally forgotten who they are, And she sends me a message on Facebook, and she's like, hey, I just want to say hi, and I'm really sorry I never got back to you and all that shit. And I see you're married now. I'm like, yeah, I'm married now. I'm happy, whatever. But it was weird. I don't know what happened. She's like, I just felt guilty because I cheated on you, whatever. I'm like, you don't need to tell me all this stuff 15 years down the road, but whatever. But I mean, long distance things don't work.
But that's exactly how it works out, though. It's like when you're that far apart, that's exactly how it ends. It's always the same thing. Either one of you. I'm not just saying it's the woman or the man. It's either or, right? Yeah, they find somebody and they move on, and the conversation and the connection stops instantly. So it's just not good. You shouldn't do it.
Not at all. And the thing is, we try because, what? We're all suckers for, finding that, looking for the true one out there. There's got to be somebody for me. And I think this is it. I'm going to take a gamble in life because that's what life is all about. It's about risk and it's about gambling. But from our experience, Niker411, stay the fuck away. This is Johnny Millennium signing off for another Love Talk question. And I got to say this. Keep asking the love talk questions. They're getting a little stale here. It's like Gamester's dogs. Oh! Keep asking love talk questions in the forums. Go do it now. Yeah. I'll see you guys later. Welcome to another episode of Gaming Piece Theater with Gamester81. Gamester, what piece of gaming history are you going to share with us today?
So this question is from Mr. Techno Squeak, and again, guys, just like Johnny said, please continue to post gaming piece theater questions on the forums. And this is by Mr. Techno Squeak. Yeah, he wants to know more about the 3DO and the history of the 3DO. I know Vintage. Do you own a 3DO?
None of my friends ever had a 3DO. Yeah. I guess we were poor.
Well, that's understandable. The system was very expensive when it came out.
Here's the deal about the 3DO. It came out in 1993, and a lot of people think actually Panasonic was the maker of the 3DO. In fact, that's kind of an incorrect assumption because actually the 3DO was a company itself, and they licensed the technology to third-party companies to create it. So Panasonic was one of the makers, one of the first makers of the 3DO. There's also Sanyo made a version in Japan, didn't make it here in the States, but also Gold Star made it. So kind of similar to, I guess you can think of it like a VCR technology, how those, a whole bunch of manufacturers made VCRs. It's very similar to the 3DO, kind of think of it like that. Retailed, Jason, you mentioned it was very expensive. That retailed for $700 US dollars in 1993. That's a lot of money, a lot of dough. Interesting thing about the 3DO, I do, like, unlike vintage, I do have memories of playing the 3DO back in the early 90s. I was in middle school at the time, and I remember going home to my buddy's place. He had the 3DO, and we would play Crash and Burn a lot. We played Road Rash all the time, which I love Road Rash. In fact, Road Rash is probably one of my favorite games for the 3DO. Return Fire is another great EA game for the 3DO.
Great one, yeah.
Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is a great port for the 3DO. It's kind of weird with the 3-button controller, but definitely a very interesting game. In fact, Time Magazine named it in 1994 Product of the Year. Interesting enough. And even as late of 2009, IGN called it the 22nd greatest video game console out of the top 25. So it is an interesting system. There were a lot of terrible games. Probably one of the reasons, terrible games. They had a lot of like adult video games for it too. Like there were like pornos available for the 3DO.
Well, I didn't know that.
There's a game called Sex.
Yeah, there's a lot of FMV on that console.
Oh yeah, ton. Only two. I mean, I shouldn't say only, but like just 2 million of them actually were sold, which is quite a few. And I really have a fun heart for the 3DO. You can pick one up for fairly cheap.
John, if you don't mind me asking, why do you have such a fond thing for the 3DO? Like, I'm not a hater of the 3DO.
So here's the deal. Okay, like I said, my buddy Ryan had it, and this is during the time of the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, and the Sega CD, right? And Sega CD, it just kind of was fairly new technology, and I was blown away playing Sewer Shark, and like, oh my god, look, there's video on a game, even though it was like 16 colors or whatever it was. But then you go to the 3DO, and it just blew my mind. My mind, because this is before DVDs. This is before all that technology, and I was
This is before PlayStation 1 even was a twinkle in our eyes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So it just blew me away. Wing Commander 3 I love Wing Commander 3. I had that on the PC, but there's a version of it on the 3DO. Definitely do yourself. I think it's ported to maybe the PS1 as well, possibly. But
it is.
There's some really good games for it.
Demolition Man. You ever play that, John?
No. Is that like based on the movie? I'm assuming.
No, I'm being dead serious. It was actually a good-looking game on the machine. It was a reason to actually be glad you owned the machine at the time. The game was subpar, but unbelievable graphics at the time.
Right. Okay. Cool. So there's several different versions I want to point out to you guys. My favorite version is the first version. It's called the Panasonic FC1, and it's the real interactive 3D multiplayer. And that's basically the version that comes out, slides open, the tray opens up, and that's probably my favorite system. Then they kind of went into like a little cheaper model, cut cost, and that's called the FZ10. It's also by Panasonic. It's the one where you push a button and the lid pops open, so there's no tray that comes out. Now the control, and there's also a third one, the Gold Star, which is another company, but that was also front loading. The controllers are kind of weird. They're almost like Genesis controllers, but they have bumper buttons on them, and they only had one controller port, so you could actually daisy chain the controllers together, up to 8 of them. So if you're playing like multiplayer, you had to actually plug in your person you're playing's controller into your controller. So it was kind of cheap, because I remember playing like Crash and Burn, and my buddy Ryan would get pissed, and he'd like pull my controller out of his controller, which is bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit.
And then there's also like a lot of controllers also have a place where you can plug in your headphones, so you can actually listen to it quietly while your parents are asleep, which is kind of interesting. Slow times are okay, but it just, because of the super expensive cost, and PS1 when that came out just killed it, absolutely blew it away. By 1998, the system was dead in the water, and unfortunately didn't really pick up. But that is the 3DO. So continue those questions going, guys. I appreciate that. And do you guys have any memories? Oh, there was supposed to be a successor called the Panasonic M2, right? Did you know this? The M2?
Nope.
Didn't a prototype of that show up recently on eBay?
There's several prototypes available, and they're an arm and leg to buy. Unfortunately, never really hit the console market, although Konami used it in kind of a short-lived arcade, used it as an arcade board. the technology, M2 technology. The technology actually is still used today in automated teller machines, believe it or not. They've in Japan and in vending machines and stuff like that. So kind of weird. They kind of took that technology and used it for other things other than what it was intended for initially. But yeah, the prototypes are an arm and a leg if you want to find an M2. This is Panasonic M2. It was supposed to be the next best thing. Unfortunately, it just didn't really hit the market. So there's 283 games for the 3DO, by the way, too. So there's quite a few games out there. So
Okay, hey, why don't we go through? Everybody goes down the list, and we all pick our favorite 3DO game. And if you don't know, and your name is Vintage, just say I don't know.
Easy.
Okay, I will say for me, between Samurai Showdown, Super Street Fighter, and Return Fire. Pete, what about you?
I'd probably say Shockwave 2, Road Rash, and Monster
RPG?
Manor.
The RPG?
I'm still playing
no?
through the RPG,
Yeah.
Lucine's Quest. I haven't played enough of it to truly judge it yet. But it seems okay. It's not the greatest thing. Oh, and Star Control 2 is also really good.
Vintage, what about you?
Yeah, I actually liked Super Gamester 81 versus Happy Console Gamer 2. That was an excellent fighter.
I like the way
my
Johnny
dog's
Millennium-
killed your fucking goat, bro.
I love it. I love the wind pose that Johnny Millennium makes at the end of the game. I love that. My favorite part. Gamester, what's your favorite game on the 3DO?
Oh, I like Gex a lot. That was a great game. I like Return Fire is great. Wing Commander 3, Crash and Burn, and of course Road Rash is probably my all-time favorite one for sure. So, Jason?
Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger, one of my favorite Wing Commanders. Road Rash, the original Need for Speed. That was the first time I ever played it. Was on that console. Blew my mind. Still love it. And I'm missing one more. Oh, Mad Dog McCree. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that one. With the light gun.
The light gun is actually really rare for 3DO. So, Jason, if you ever come across one, let me know because I have the Mad Dog. I have a couple other shooting games for the 3DO, but I don't have the light gun. So, if you see one in your quest, let me know.
All right, sounds good.
I think that wraps up episode 29.
Sure does.
Wow, we're almost at 30.
Vintage.
Can you believe it?
Vintage. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Guys, it's really been great. Thanks a lot. I'm definitely a fan of the show. I'll be listening.
We're fans of you, man. Definitely. We like your show.
Yeah, we do.
Appreciate it, guys.
Interesting trivia question or interesting trivia fact right here. Vintage, I was like, Vintage is like number like 8th sub you had, and you were like my 5th sub or whatever. We've known each other since the beginning of us, but we got on YouTube at the same time, so we're been around for a while, and yeah, I consider him a good friend, and he's a good friend of many here in the community. So, Vintage, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Where can people find you on YouTube? What's your screen name? You can go ahead and
yeah, it's just, sure, it's just one word. If you just jump on YouTube and search for Vintage Video Game Geek, all one word, I should pop up in there somewhere.
Some really great videos. I love the videos when you went back to the arcade. I like that, and your Bionic Commando review is classic.
Thanks a lot, guys, and obviously I love all your guys' channels. I've learned a lot from you guys. Pete, I did want to try to fit this in here. You did one video where you're showing all your handhelds, and I actually kind of mimicked what you did. Your setup with those little stands you got at Michael's.
Those things are awesome, though, aren't they?
I love them.
Totally
They were like $1.50 a half a piece, and so I went out there and got them, and I set that up. But yeah, all you guys are great, and thanks for doing this. I know you guys put a lot of your time and effort, to put out this podcast every week. So keep up the great
Especially
work.
Jason.
I was just about to say that.
The time and effort that Jason puts into editing, people just don't realize.
All the sound effects and stuff. So.
We appreciate Jason.
It's
Much
all
love.
fun. Just make sure to go vote for me on that contest.
Oh yeah.
How do we vote? What's the link again?
Well, I don't think you can vote, but just make sure to go and give me support when I post the video.
Done and done.
Send death threats into the company.
Yeah, send an email to EA and be like, hey, let this guy win.
Nice. I can't believe we've actually done 29 episodes. I just can't believe that. That's crazy.
I know. 30 coming up here? Are we over the hill yet? What is that?
Yeah, I know. When do we retire?
What does that even mean?
Yeah.